Do or do not. There is no try. And that is a quote from Yoda, The Empire Strikes Back episode of Star Wars. Now, when he first is working with Lucas to get him to use the Force, he said many, many other great things that I was trying to quote, but I couldn't find the whole thing. And I wasn't going to do the voice. So I would suggest you log on to The Empire Strikes Back on the Disney Channel, some other places, and listen to his soliloquy around making things happen. All right. So, hello, all you cool kids out there in YouTube and podcast land. Just have a solo episode here that is primarily about challenging a couple of beliefs that might be holding you back from the success you want. One of my core principles in life and strong, almost a spiritual foundation, is that what we focus on expands, and we can change our thinking and change our life. Our thoughts are very, very powerful. So when we share limiting beliefs, when we think them, when we speak them, it's very hard for those not to be our reality. So, my thought for today is for you to ponder and challenge some of those limiting beliefs that, number one, might feel true, or number two, might actually be just your excuse for not either doing what it takes or for not having been as successful in your endeavors and your goals as you would like. And before I get started, if you want to book a 20-minute chat on anything around photography, business success, the meaning of life, go to lucidumascoaching.com and you'll find that there. You'll find oodles of other episodes here. You can also log into YouTube or Spotify or Apple or wherever lovely podcasts are listened to. Okay, so number one, a lot of people say or they post in Facebook chats, my clients would never pay that, or this won't work in my area. I especially hear that second one when we're talking about in-person sales. So if these are things you've said out loud, I want you to ask yourself, one, is this an excuse? Two, is it an excuse for not making the effort? So two different things. One is why you don't do the work. The other is why am I not as successful as I want to be? And so we have lots of opportunities to come up with excuses for not following through on things or not finding solutions, not reaching our goals. So ask yourself those. Now, the third is if you really haven't thought about ways to overcome what you think is a roadblock, that's some of the things I want to share now, today. Because it may be that it feels really true for you and it's not just an excuse. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. All right. So, one of the challenges I want to put forth is for people who say, my clients won't pay that. So, when I hear that, I think, who determined who your clients are? Is there some like big scroll in the side in the sky that says, these are Susie Photography's clients? And those are people with certain interests, beliefs, income, personalities, and so forth. I don't really think that's true. And if you have a dream to have a successful business, to make a certain kind of income, to run your business in a certain way, the first step is to figure out your financial goals and then figure out who is going to be able to help you achieve that. Where do they live? What is their income? What's their lifestyle? What do they spend extra money on? Are they people who value, let's say you're going to do a luxury approach, are they people who are going to value beautiful photography as art in their homes or um, excellent executive portraits or a wedding photographer that gives full service and creates a book or whatever would be the thing that and the way that you structure your business so that you can achieve your financial goals and have fun doing it. So those are the people then that are your clients, not randomly everybody with a pulse in your neighborhood. So um, let's see, I'm going to pause one sec so I can quiet all those dings going on. Okay, dings are all quiet now. All right. So the truth is, and I've said this many times, but you might not have heard it or it might just bear repeating. There's four types of people. People that want and love what we do and can afford it. People that don't value what we do, even though they can afford it. People who would love to work with us, but they seriously cannot budget for it. And then people who don't have the money and wouldn't want it anyway. So what you're looking for is the people in the upper, I guess we'll call it the upper right corner if you're watching this, who love what you do and are willing to invest in it. Not just the money, but also the time and build the relationship and all the things and be fun. Uh, One of the first things on my ideal client questionnaire when I work with coaching clients is what are their personalities like? And personalities to me, the people I want to work with are pleasant, they're accepting, they're trusting, they're willing to be led. Um, they value experiences. That's not really a personality thing, but they like making connections with other humans. So those are my clients. Now, if I were to do a higher volume, then my clients might look a little bit different. There'd be more that could afford me, but I also might not get the ones that are my ideal clients because they want the full service and they don't quite trust something that is more budget friendly, or they might use me occasionally, but then go use somebody doing a luxury approach. So, there's no right and wrong about who you work for, how you work, what you charge, as long as it's serving you and your business and your clients. Another aspect of the my clients would never pay this is challenging your relationship with money, that you would never pay that you maybe don't think you're worth that or your work is worth that. And that's an inside job. Um, so take a look at that as another deep dive into why you're saying my clients won't pay that. I've said this before, but I have a client that always ordered well, never wanted a discount. It was going to be $20,000 for the portraits that she ordered. And when it came time to actually tell her that number, I was terrified just to say that number. And I had to sit with it for a couple of weeks before I could tell her. And then she said, okay, cool. How do you want me to pay for that? And then she told me about how she was going to New York to purchase a designer gown for a gala and an art piece by Pablo Picasso's daughter. So, she was probably dropping 50 grand or more on that trip. And she loves photography. She loves her family. So it was well worth it for her. But over the years, each time I've stepped up to a higher, uh, let's say, pay grade, give myself a raise, I've had to do some internal work. So I suggest you take a look at that. All right. Now, the other thing I hear a lot is that won't work in my area. So, first of all, I'm going to look at because nobody has ever, let's say you want to switch to in person sales, and there is literally nobody in your area that does that. That can actually be really good news. Why do you think that is? Because people want to be served. People want quality. People don't always want the DIY, do it yourself option. And not all people, certainly, there are more people who will pay a little bit of money for, nice photography without a lot of service or relationship. There's probably more people that, but in a whole community that has doctors and lawyers and uh, business owners and uh, you know people who are earning a living and busy, there are always people who would appreciate better service, full service. Um, so it's actually good news because if you're the only one in town that does that, who are they going to go to? Who are they going to recommend? Or the other side of that can be a lot of people are doing in-person sales and selling wall portraits, so I can't compete. That is a fallacy that seems logical, but I love that expression, a rising tide floats all boats. And I'll tell you what happened in San Diego, because I've been around a long time. And when I started, there was a couple who live in a neighborhood that's about half an hour from me. Sometimes with traffic, it can be an hour. And their father had owned the business and been kind of a medium mom and pop business. And they decided when they inherited it to sell wall portraits and wedding albums, uh, and give that full service for a good deal of income. And as they started doing that, there were other photographers that they were teaching that started doing it as well, and then more and more and more. And what happened is the the desire was created because people didn't have wall portraits in Poway, and very few did wall portraits in San Diego until this movement started where a few and then a few and then a few. Then people wanted that because they would go in their friends' homes and they would see these beautifully designed pieces of art that featured their family, and then they wanted it. So, and the nice thing that happened many years later, when first of all, I realized that Poway had a lot of my ideal clients, and several of the clients that I found in different ways that lived in Poway, their kids were a little bit older, but they said, "Oh, yes, we use Lee's photography." That's my friends, Terry and Allison. We used Lee's photography when our kids were babies, and we absolutely love having wall portraits in our home. So they tilled the soil, fertilized, got the weeds out, and got the world available for people wanting what I was offering now. And yeah, that made it easy. All right. I'm going to pause one more time so I can check what else I want to tell you without babbling too much. Hold on. Okay. So the other thing is when you say that won't work in my area, let's say you live in a small town or a big town or a medium town. it's easy to say it won't work in my area. Each of those have their advantage. And also, if you're in a small town, most people have a city that is not too far away, maybe a couple hours, uh, may have other communities. So if you live in a town of, let's say, 10,000, but maybe a 20-minute drive away, there's another town that size and in all directions. So that is a possibility that while in your immediate area, you don't have an abundance of people, which is another reason to be higher priced. Because if you're going volume at a low price to try to make the income that you want, you're going to run out of people faster. Um, I can make a great living with 50 clients and a $3,000 to $10,000 average. If they all spent 10,000, that'd be $500,000, and I'd get to keep quite a bit of that. So um, so think about the possibilities of reaching out in communities that are not in your immediate, within 10-minute drive, but a little bit farther. Now, my area, when I was doing most of my weddings and baby photography, my immediate area, which is kind of like a small town right in the heart of San Diego, my ideal clients were not there, definitely not there. So the marketing that I did not do in my neighborhood. It was mostly seniors, single people, lower income. Uh, it's an old historic neighborhood, which I love, and is now turned around. And if I was still doing babies, my houses, the houses in my neighborhood are 1 million and up. And so the families that are here now, there's lots and lots of families. They, sure, they've got higher mortgages, but they have to have some good income. So if I were going to start all over and promote baby photography, I wouldn't have to go far. I could just, you know, do my neighborhood. Anyhow, am I way off track? No. So I marketed to the communities, North County Coastal. So it's like Del Mar, Escondido, Encinitas, Oceanside. Escondido's not coastal, but or up 15, which is North County inland. And that's where the families who have nice homes, good income, fairly affluent professional jobs, mostly bought homes, the young families. So all of my marketing was to reach out to those communities. And yes, they would sometimes have to drive anywhere from half an hour to an hour and a half to get here. But I tried to help them understand that what I was offering didn't really exist in their neighborhood. Maybe it did, but I like to suggest it didn't because there's only one of me. So yes, I don't exist in their neighborhoods. And I would share that many of my clients come from their area, and that would give them permission. And also, I find that I live near downtown. And so some of the far reaching places, the clients come to this area anyway. So they would just plan little routes. So it wasn't a barrier. Um, Now, if you live in Mongolia in a yurt and there's 25 people that you travel with and move your yurt, it might be difficult, but you can think of solutions. If you live in the Sahara Desert, it might be difficult to get people in your area. But if you want to do this dang thing, you can be strategic about it. Not sure if you've listened to my interviews with Arika Dorf. She's a pet photographer. And when I first met her, she had a lovely van and her dog and her cameras. And twice, 2 months out of the year, she would travel mostly to the Pacific Northwest. She would photograph dogs, high end wall portraits, good income. And then she would go home and she'd play her ukulele. And that worked great for her because she went to her ideal client area. She worked very hard for a period of time, and then she got to relax. And I think that sounds pretty fun. She's I'm not sure now if she's still traveling and photographing in a limited time. She got an upscale van, and it's amazing. So you want to check out Arica Dorf and how she manages to like not even work in her area. A coaching client of mine lives in a small town right on the border, I think, of where's the Grand Tetons? Is that Wyoming? Um, anyway, she lives like 2.5 hours away from a resort area that has summer people and skiing and so forth. And that's who she markets to. And she travels there to do the sessions and to do the sales. So she's found a way to make it work. Um, some people, like another one of my interviews, he began to learn about um, high end photography, and he lived in a more modest community, and he was just kind of doing okay. And he decided to actually move. So people do that all the time. Um, One other idea, I keep getting these Facebook ads about luxury pet photography, and that Mr. So and so is going to be in San Diego between these dates and these dates. Book now. And I've learned that he goes to, and I can't remember the name, but he goes to like 10 different communities around the country, lives there for a while, does great advertising. So I assume he gets a lot of bookings in the area. So for some people, that's fantastic. And you might need to change your specialty if you live in a certain area. If you live in a smaller town, you might need to be more diversified. I'm always preaching the gospel of having a niche, um, but sometimes it does, um, in certain communities, being someone that offers executive and children and nice family portraits and other a variety of photography can actually be a good idea. So I think that's all I have in my little notes for today. And again, LuciDumasCoaching.com, Lucy with an I. You can book a 20-minute call and chat about this or something else. Um, oh, I wanted to give you one parting thought, because at the beginning I said you needed to figure out how much income you need and what you're going to do and for how many clients and what you're going to sell them. So I wanted to give you my little shortcut. So you want to determine how much income would be comfortable for you, let's say in the next year or two, to be making regularly. So let's say we'll just go easy, $50,000. On the average, we keep about a third of money that we bring in because of taxes, expenses, insurance. We need a place to work. We need cameras. We need marketing. We need all the things. So if you want to clear a $50,000, take home, absolutely multiply by 3. So that'd be $150,000. And then think about how many clients do you want to work with? How many do you think you can attract? And so 150,000, let's say if you want 30 clients, then okay, I'm doing too fast of math here. That means each client would need to spend I think it would be 3,000. Don't check my math. Anyway, divide the 150,000 by the number of clients you uh, feel comfortable averaging. Like when I did weddings, at a certain point, I only did three a month. And so I needed a certain average. Let's say this same formula, I needed, if there's three a month, I needed to average $5,000 to get $15,000, which would, with some vacation time in there, equal the 150,000. And then we take away the expenses. And that left me a decent living with tax deductions. 50,000 can actually expand to more. Anyway, so now if I need $5,000 a client, what can I sell them for that? So with weddings, it was an album, a wall portrait, a small collection of printed images for gifts. And yeah, so figure that out. And that helps you price. And then that helps you figure out, okay, where am I going to find three clients a month that will invest $5,000 in wedding photography or portrait photography? And then that's your task. And as I said, there's lots of ways to find those people. Um, and you can listen again if you want to be like, wait, where did you say that? All right, my darlings, that is it for now. And it's fall if you're listening to this when it's nice and fresh and new. Even in San Diego, we're starting to get a little fall coolness and colors changing. Yes, colors change in San Diego. You just have to be in the right place. Um, and that's it. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day, and I hope you do too. Bye.